Okay, we are live. I'm gonna wait till a few people pop in first to start. I'm also going to, let's see here. Okay, I don't think we have anybody yet, but I'll start anyway because I saved this afterwards. Yeah, I know. Well, I told people it would be like half an hour ago, but alas, gotta wait for the man. But oh, we have a visitor.
Did you finish this stuff? Almost?
Already? Almost on the last little sips.
Waiting for it to beep, so we can get you on your last one.
Hooray!
Yeah, pretty good.
All right, so you're gonna join me. This is a party. Okay, let me give a background of what's going on here real quick. Sorry, we're a little wobbly. Nobody's in here to tell me about how sound is doing yet, but okay. So this is what's happening. I am in for my third Tysabri infusion. I'm in for my third Tysabri infusion. And are you able to like see it on your phone, like if sound is okay and everything, and like to make sure? Oh no, we've got a viewer, so we're good. Okay, all right. So I'm in for my third Tysabri infusion, and as many of you know, last time and the time before that, I went live for a little bit of a Q&A, and my friend here named Shelly, who you might remember from a photo back in December, who had randomly met on an airplane, happened to be getting a similar treatment here today as well. So we ran into each other again, not so randomly this time, but still kind of weird to be meeting in such a place. But and she was kind enough. Hey, Deborah, can you? Oh, good. Sound is good. Thank you. And she was kind enough to remind me, because she's seen my 2 other live streams, to spit out my little mint that they give you ahead of time. And I told her for anybody who watched the Super Bowl this last weekend, that Pink, if anybody saw the national anthem at the beginning, she stole my move. She spit out a throat lozenge right before she started singing. So just remember, came here first. So anyways, so did you want to say any introductory words before?
Yep, so met Kat on an airplane in December and discovered that we both came to the clinic here. And I had just wrapped up Tysabri and started Limtrada. So I was in for my second dose of Limtrada today. For 3 days. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Yeah. So she's going to be back here tomorrow. I get to go home and come back in another month. And you get to go home and come back in another year. Maybe. So if some of you might have seen on my other social media that, in the past, these last 2 infusions that I did kind of like a question and answer session. But this time, something kind of sparked an idea in my mind over the last month. I'm deciding to discuss the topic instead. And this is great because now I have extra input as well as anything that anybody wants to put in the comments below. We'll hopefully see it. Not all the comments show up live, but I do see a couple right now. So I'm trying to think of like how to begin this. I want to discuss the ways in which MS affects identity. And this is actually very timely because I'm not sure when it's going to go live, but at some point in the near future, I have an article that'll be going live on the MS Society's blog about being MS enough. And feelings of like guilt if you're not, I don't want to say like disabled enough, but just, you're not, do you kind of know what I'm trying to say?
Actually, I met a Limtrada person that's going through her first dose, and we were talking about it. She was a cane, and she's young, and I know I get dirty looks when I go to Walmart, and I use a motorized scooter. The elderly greeters give me some lovely looks, and So yes, the parking spots, using the handicap spots, the moms for my son's athletic teams. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's always like this feeling of like, you know, I'm not MS enough, and this feeling of like competition within our community, which is so ridiculous because like who wants to win that competition anyway? And so and also it's also timely because for anybody that gets Momentum magazine, which is also put out by the MS Society, there's going to be an article that I wrote in there about MS and how it affects your identity. So anyways, let me back up a little bit in what is prompting this topic. So as many of you know, I'm on Facebook. I've got the website, I've got Facebook, I've got Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and I use all four for, you know, different. I share some similar information on all of those platforms, but I use them kind of differently. On Instagram, in my bio, I make it very clear I'm a little ooky spooky. I am an MS blogger. I have 2 dogs, and I'm a professional ATS belly dancer. So all of those things are well represented in my feed of photos. And, you know, people follow me for different reasons. You know, I might post like a belly dancing photo and I get an influx of followers who are also dancers. And same thing with like, you know, people who are really into dogs when I post a dog photo. And then what inevitably happens is I'll post a photo of something else, and then I tend to lose a few followers because maybe they signed up for something else. So, and I mean, whatever, I don't care. But there was one unfollowing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And it's not the fact that I was unfollowed by someone on Instagram. It's the reason why I was unfollowed on Instagram. So this is the story of what is bringing, is the behind this topic today. So a few weeks ago, I posted a 3-second video on Instagram, and it was Instagram stories. So it lasts, you know, it's on Instagram for about 24 hours. And it was a video of me just at home on a weekend night, and I had a sheet mask. And for people who don't know what that is, it's like a face mask, skincare that you put on, and it's on like a piece of fabric or paper, and it's got eyes cut out and, you know, nostrils and a mouth, and it looks terrifying. But I had it on, and I made a small reference to both Silence of the Lambs and also an episode of The Office when they're learning how to do CPR, and Dwight puts on the face of the CPR dummy, and he makes that slurping noise from Silence of the Lambs, okay? And this video was 3 seconds long, and it was freaking hilarious. Thank you very much, okay? I put it on. 3 days later, I posted a photo on Instagram of me hooked up, just like I am right now. So I posted a photo of me hooked up, and I talk about Tysabri in the caption, about, you know, my next Q&A, blah, blah, blah. This girl, or I'm assuming she's a girl, I don't know, this person on Instagram commented, and she's, whoever they are, fixated on this 3-second video that I had posted 3 days ago that expired 2 days ago, about this video of me with the sheet mask on my face. And we kind of went back and forth because I was trying to figure out what she was referring to, because it had nothing to do with the photo I posted. And eventually the conversation ended with her saying, after I explained, oh, it's a Silence of the Lambs reference. And she said, oh, well, I have MS and I follow people that have MS. Goodbye. And then she unfollowed me, which again, I don't care about. But like, I mean, you Google my name and it's like you are buried in MS Landistan. And I'm all over Facebook. I've got this page, I've got Twitter, I've got YouTube, all of which are centered around MS. My websites, everything. I'm not shy about it at all. And then, you know, she commented on a picture of me getting treated for MS, and the caption's all about MS. And it's like it wasn't MS enough. It wasn't like, you know, an orange background and meme, you know, with a copy of my latest MRI results posted over it, you know, which was kind of ridiculous. So, oh, hey, Beth. That beep means that I'm done with my medication and they're going to change me to saline, so we might have another visitor come in. I really hope that beeping stops, though. I apologize if it's annoying anybody. Oh, hark. I hear footsteps. Hello, how are you?
How are you?
Good. I'll wait to continue once she's done changing me. I guess I could keep talking. So it prompted discussion on, are you MS enough and how it affects your identity. Now, I can't speak for you, Shelly, but like I don't walk around in an orange jumpsuit and, like with a sign above my head or anything like that. And I try to convey on my social media that there is more to life than MS. It's part of me. Yes, it's a part of my life, but that doesn't mean like I am MS. It's just a part of me, and it's a part that I accept. But I want to show people, you can still be active like I do with my dancing. You can still, be obsessed with your dogs and, go to museums and travel and things like that. And I want people to see that, I'm very real. I feel I'm very real, very honest, but I'm not negative and gloom and doom. So I don't want to give that to people. And while there are people out there on Instagram and other social media channels that maybe post, like inspirational quotes every day or memes and stuff like that, I think that's great. I follow some of those people, but that's not what my brand, I guess, if you want to call it, is about. I want people to realize that there is more. I don't know. Like, how do you feel about that?
No orange jumpsuit. I want some orange shirts. I sport a new fresh tattoo.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky. Oh, the other way, yeah.
So I do sport in orange ribbon with a spoon, because that spoon theory resonates with me.
If you don't know what she's referring to, go to butyoudon'tlook.sick.com and you can search for spoon theory. And there's a great article that kind of explains, it's an analogy for people who don't know what having MS or another chronic illness is like.
Awesome analogy. But I agree. There's more to MS. Life changes. I know when I met Kat, we were going to Nashville, and I was going for a friend's birthday party, and I had to change. I took a wheelchair with me to make sure I could participate in all festivities, but did not miss an opportunity to go out, hang out, have some adult beverages, and lots of them. So MS is not me.
It doesn't end here. It doesn't end here. And I feel like, and I say this in the article that I wrote for the MS blog that isn't live yet, but obviously I'll post when it is. But I said it there, and I'll say it again. We all, especially when we're first diagnosed, we've all either heard or said, I have MS, but it doesn't have me, or I'm not MS, and that's so true. Except when we start like turning on each other in our community and saying, well, you don't look a certain way. We don't like it when other people say it about us, but when we say it to each other and like, you're not MS enough, we actually become the disease, kind of, because we're self-attacking. We're attacking one of our own in our own community, and that's when we become the disease, and that's crappy, and shouldn't do that. So again, I don't care about this whole Instagram business and losing followers. It's more just, it was the reason why, of just like, she didn't feel that I was I don't know, I guess portraying MS enough. I don't know. It was weird. And you know what? That video was freaking funny. Did you see that video?
Yes.
Yeah, it was funny, okay? It was funny. It was 3 seconds long. It was hilarious. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know if people haven't seen it. I'm gonna post it on here afterwards. I'm gonna post it, and it's funny.
Do it.
I'm going to. I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna post it on the It's Only a Bruise Facebook page.
And look, she can multitask.
I can multitask. I can do it all, folks. God, so cranky. I wonder if I can find the photo. But yeah, I mean, we don't always get, hey, Jess. Not all the comments come through when we're live. So so I apologize if people have been kind of discussing this along with us. But if anybody has any input on how you identify with MS and how it affects the way that you see yourself, the way you see others with MS or other chronic illnesses, I'm curious to hear what you think. How long ago was that video? Like just a few weeks ago. There's a lot of action on this camera. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna be posting this video right now so you guys can see what caused the controversy. I'm overinflating this. I realize that, but it is what it is.
See, on another topic, I'm totally gonna sell her out too. She brings all kinds of snacks too. Like
I didn't bring those. Those gave those.
You got these?
Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously, snack yourself. So
I've got crackers and peanut butter. The whole shebang.
Oh, it totally infected your spoon now.
Oh, that's okay. I'm not gonna use it. Oh, see, there's your extra spoon. Hashtag spoonies for life. I don't know where that video is. I know I saved it because it was funny. Oh, here it is. That's a good one. So I'm going to post it now, and it's only a bruise. And yeah. So, all right. So the 3-second video is up. So when we're done here.
For 24 hours.
Yeah. Well, no, it's up. Now it's up permanently. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. Because, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with MS, but it was funny. And life doesn't end here at all. We're both active. We both travel. We both have hobbies.
Dogs, kids.
Dogs, kids. Oh, let's see here. That's very true, Deborah. She says, for me, I would say that what I feel and how I feel on the inside isn't always noticeable on the outside. So for me, I try to always look my best, be my best self, but unfortunately, a lot of people do not understand. Noticing an increase and then make it permanent. Yeah. Yeah, it's a tricky thing having an invisible illness because I feel like we fight so hard to like try to appear normal. Saying through gritted teeth, like, I'm fine, when people ask, how are you and how you feeling, and just trying to fit in. And, we don't want to be the center of attention, but at the same time, we get frustrated when people don't understand.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's because people can't understand, and sometimes it's because people don't want to understand. But yeah, I don't know. That's another thing that I wrote about for the MS Society that hasn't gone live quite yet, about like analogies and the way that we explain to people what we're experiencing. Like we talked about the spoon theory earlier briefly. We told you where you can find it. But the idea is that you start off the day with so many spoons, and then when you do any kind of task or whatever, they cost a certain number of spoons. And by the end of the day, you kind of have to make decisions as to what you're going to use your energy on until you have no spoons left. You can also decide to conserve spoons for the next day, but that means you have to maybe give up something that day. But I've also heard things, and this is more in terms of fatigue, I would say. I don't, but I've heard things about like a fuel tank, like in a car. I've heard there's been things like this bike has MS, where they built a bike that's built with like faulty parts or altered parts to kind of mimic certain
square
things.
Wheels.
Yeah, things like that. Maybe an uncomfortable seat, things like that. But nobody's ever ridden the bike, and that irritates me because I feel like for someone to truly understand what MS is like, they'd have to ride this bike in a race with other people who are riding normal unaltered bikes. And then they've had like a house with MS that has mimicked different symptoms, like you would be walking on, like the floors are made out of air mattresses, and there's like unsteady trays and staticky TVs and books with like all the same pages in them, things like that. This probably makes a lot more sense to the people who are watching. Oh, we're back. Hey, okay. Sorry, we're on hospital Wi-Fi, so it's a little spotty. But we'll probably wrap this up in a few minutes because we're going on about 20 minutes now. This whole video will be available to view when we stop going live, if you missed anything in the beginning. But one thing that I did find, and maybe you can, while I'm saying this, think of something that maybe you can compare anything that you've experienced to as well, is because I had surgery on my leg recently, I've been going to physical therapy to build up muscle again. And they have this thing called like e-stim or stim, where it's electronic stimulation. maybe some of you have had this before, where they put like things on your muscles and they shoot electricity through it, and it forces the nerves to contract your muscles. And I didn't think I'd have an issue with it because I've used like TENS units before and things like that. Never had an issue. But she hooked this e-stim up to my left leg, which, by the way, is where I first had like my first, I guess, MS attack. A few years ago was on my left side, and I always try to explain to people how that felt. And I usually use things like, well, it's kind of like, you know, when your foot falls asleep and you try to walk on it, except imagine like maybe like there was like a 400-pound weight on your leg or something, and then you try to get up and walk on it because it's so painful. And this e-stim was like probably the closest thing I've ever experienced to that. And I don't know like if I had to have it stopped because it was painful or if it was more because it was so close to the feeling of like what an onset of an attack felt like, that that I think like my whole body like just went into panic mode, like something terrible is about to happen and it's just going to feel 50 times worse than it already does. But that's like the closest physical dupe that I've been able to come up with, I think, to like what one of my attacks feels like, except it's all down my left side of my body, but it's similar to that. Do you have any way to describe your symptoms?
I was going to say I haven't used the e-stim, but I've talked to people about it, and we've talked about using it. They don't think it'll be effective. My first flare was, it lasted about a week, and it was as if I was carrying around a brown paper bag, and I was drunk all day long. So
that's terrible.
So, and it was exhausting to stay focused and work and try to walk in a straight line. And so I was completely exhausted trying to give the appearance that there was nothing wrong.
Yeah. So, you know what else? It kind of reminds me of like fatigue and, you know, just trying to move your body when you're fatigued. And for people who live in maybe northern states, they'll be able to appreciate this a little bit more, but it's kind of like trying to walk the length of a football field, you know, maybe like in couple feet of snow, maybe like 2 or 3 feet of snow, and how exhausting that is. Or a ball pit. If you've ever tried to like chase one of your children in a ball pit at Chuck E. Cheese, it's kind of like that.
And it's funny, you talked about use the air mattress analogy. Mm-hmm. So I do physical therapy once a week, and actually one of the activities that they have me doing is standing on kind of an air mattress to try and help my balance.
Yeah.
And that's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So, couple good comments in here, and yes, Deborah, that does make sense, and understanding each other's symptoms, even though that they're different. That's what's important. You know, it's a disease that affects everybody so differently from person to person and can change with the hour. So, that understanding is very important, rather than judging someone on, you know, whose symptoms are worse or whatever. It is very important to understand those differences and appreciate them, and learn from them as well. That's so crucial. But yeah, thanks you guys for joining me again today for my third Tysabri infusion. You can kind of see the progression here because, like, in me at least, this is Shelly's first time joining me. But like my first stream, I was like, ooh, I'm gonna be on camera. I'm gonna look cute. So I was somewhat cute that day, and then I was like, well, maybe I'll make this a regular thing. But then last time I was like, oh, black sweatshirt. That's like fancy sweatshirt. That's like formal loungewear. And today we're just in this little champion sweatshirt. It's slowly getting more and more comfortable, which is fine because I just came from work actually, and I wear scrubs at work, and I didn't want, even though I've done it, I don't like going to like medical facilities where I'm also wearing scrubs, because then I feel like, you know, when you go to a party and you're wearing the same dress as somebody else, you know? So anyways, on that note, we're going to sign off. I'm going to be here probably for another, that bag looks pretty full.
Can someone take it?
No, but you can take it. No, you're okay. Yeah, so that's about it. So we're going to sign off. I'm going to have my blood pressure taken, and that's about it. So thanks for joining us. We'll be here next month.
I was going to say, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to Kat.
Yeah.
Or
Shelly. I can pass them along.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So thanks for joining me,
Yeah,
Shelly, on this
absolutely.
impromptu.
Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, it was great to bump into you in another weird place. So, all right. So thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.